airline, what airline am I flying where I'm just like eating condiments? Like it's like condiments that I try to bring on my own.
Sun Express, I think, the airline I flew today.
I don't. What airline did you fly?
Sun Express.
Oh, Sun Express. Did you fly that? Oh, yeah, Sun Express. That was what I flew. Uh,
And I
yeah,
saw
but
in the at the airport in Italy, they had they had airplanes that were painted as if they were specifically for Wadapalooza. They were purple and blue, pink and purple and blue. Wizz Air, and it even has the
Wiz,
letters WZA in the name, Wizz Air. If you just take out some of the other letters.
did you take a picture and send it to Dylan? It's like, hey, I see you're global now.
I wanted to, but I was not the only time I saw him. We were on a bus, and it was like one of the windows had like film over them with black and holes, and it wasn't a very good picture.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just get this out of the way real quick. Just
It's evening here, Audrey.
well, that's. I mean, I guess from the title, you would figure that you are in Milan. But all right. People are kind of trickling in right now. But if you were watching the beginning of this, um, I was showing Brian that I travel with Chick-fil-A packs. So, and yeah, just to add some flavor to some things, get a little piece of Americana, I guess. But so currently, I'm still on my. I guess I'm on my world tour chasing Brian. Um, he's in Italy right now, Milan, right?
Yep.
And I'm currently in Izmir, Turkey. We actually met up yesterday, so we'll talk about that. But I think we'll just get off. We'll just start talking about why you're in Italy.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember if it was when I was in Finland in August or when I went back to Europe in September for Madrid and Sweden, Norway trip. But at some point along the lines there, actually, both of the people who hosted us in Izmir and the competition organizers here in Italy came across my radar. And so kind of was able to marry those trips together. This competition that's starting tomorrow, it's the Fall Series Throwdown. It's actually the 13th iteration of this competition. 11 of those have been live. The first one was online in 2011. 2011, if you don't know, was the first year of the CrossFit Open. So the organizer of this competition has been running online competitions as long as the Open has been around. The other online version was in 2020. They had their qualifier, and it was kind of cool talking to them today. They said they had built in three different processes. It was like green light go if they were going to be able to have the live event, yellow if they were going to need to postpone it that year, and red is if it was going to be a dead stop and just defer to the online results, which is what they ended up doing that year, as almost every competition did. I mean, if you think about other competitions that we are aware of that have been lasting that long, even the 2020 CrossFit Games went online for a majority of the athletes. Dubai didn't happen that year. Wadapalooza didn't happen that year. And Fall Series Throwdown was still able to make an online version, similarly to what Rogue did, I guess. And well, not similarly, but quite different. uh, and so, anyway, it's one of the longer standing events in Europe for sure, maybe around the world. And there are other big events in Italy for sure. Italian Showdown probably has more notoriety just because of the sanctional years, but this one's been going on for longer. And I reached out to them to see if it would be possible to get out here on the back end of the Dubai trip. I've gone to Dubai in the past and just come back right away, and Patrick has done the same. And I mean, it's a long trip to only stay there for 4 or 5 days. So it's kind of nice to be slowly making our way back towards the States. And after I had that kind of lined up, I spoke with the people in Turkey, and I was like, well, it's on the way. I have a few days in between hotel reservations, and they said, come on out. So we set up something in Izmir as well.
Yeah, and that's where I'm currently am. I just had dinner, amazing dinner, and Brian will test that the food here is they love to eat. They love to eat. They love to drink coffee, and they love to host. At least the people that were hosting us, they were just amazing people. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Going back to the fall series throwdown. I mean, is this a um, kind? Is this like an elite individual type of competition? Is it a community? Does it have masters, age groups, team?
Yeah, I was trying to get the full picture today, and so I believe there are 20 divisions this year.
Wow.
Eight individual male divisions, eight individual female divisions, ranging from elite. They have four categories for like the open division. I think it's elite. I'm not exactly sure what they call them all. Um, Maybe intermediate to scaled, and then they have a like an experience division or something like that. That's like the introductory. Anyway, there's like four tiers of that. For men and women, there's some masters divisions, and then they have teams of three. All the teams are two male, one female, um, and yeah, so 20 divisions, 3-day competition, two different venues, 700 about 700 athletes will be here
Wow.
this weekend.
Well, any notable athletes from the elite divisions that you know, or any names that we should be looking out for?
Well, it was quite difficult to find the list. We did
Mhm.
find it eventually, and I just want to kind of throw this out here. You know, obviously I've done a ton of podcasts over the years with Sevan, and one of the big topics that he talks about when it comes to CrossFit is that this is a sport. And from his perspective, who doesn't attend many competitions, when he watches them live, he wants to be able to see the race.
Mhm.
But in the build up to a sporting event, you need to know a few things. It's very rare to never seen in other sports that you don't know who's competing, where they're competing, when they're competing, or what they're doing. And yet in CrossFit, for some reason, these things tend to happen. I would just say this as a advice, I guess, to any competition organizer out there. If I come to your Instagram or anyone else does, I should be able to find your leaderboard with a roster of athletes that are competing within 10 seconds of getting on your homepage. Pretty much every competition is going to have a link tree, and one of the first 5 buttons should be leaderboard. People want
Mhm.
to know who's competing in your sport. The dates of the competition should be listed there as soon as you know them, as well as the location, and that kind of leaves the what. And that comes down to the programming. Obviously, there's a massive influence from Dave Castro, who created this sport of developing this unknown and unknowable and releasing details late. But for the most part, um, I think that it's also good to have some of the events or some details of the events released earlier rather than later in terms of, you know, within 2 weeks of the competition. It doesn't need to be earlier than that necessarily. But look, even Wadapalooza has released a workout now, and they're still about a month off from beginning their competition, and people can start getting excited about what that might be. So just kind of from going to many of these and always trying to track down information from other ones, people want to know who's competing in your competition. They want to know when it is, where it is, and I think that there's a certain appreciation of what the competition is going to look like, at least in terms of number of events, number of days, what you know, if they're going to need some kind of special equipment, those types of things.
Yeah, looking through this, I mean,
So I
the
didn't answer your
leaderboard.
question at all,
No, you didn't. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'll
but I
answer my
did
own.
text you.
You
I
did.
texted you the 7 athletes, 3 women and 4 men.
I couldn't pull it up though.
I can go
Uh,
through it.
yeah, you sure can. Um, but let's talk about some of those athletes. I think what one thing I've noticed is that, and you can maybe talk about the state of affairs with when it comes to Italian and the CrossFit scene there. But when I think of Italy, I think of two names come to mind, and Enrico Zanoni, and um, sorry, Alicia
Uh,
Fulian. And obviously, both of those two athletes are not competing at this event, unless you know something that I don't. Obviously, we saw Lisa in Dubai. By the way, she suffered some type of injury. Hopefully, everything's good, and that she will be healthy for the season. But I mean, those two are probably the face of Italian CrossFit currently. Um,
Yeah, I would
that's
say
about.
that's fair to say.
Mhm.
And uh, and Enrico competed last week as well, except he was up at FitFest, and he also competed a couple months ago at a competition in northern Italy, Battledrome, something or other, and he won that competition. So yes, I would say that at this point they're both kind of the favorites to be the most likely candidates in terms of Italian CrossFitters to qualify for the CrossFit Games. I think, as has mentioned leading into Dubai, that Lisa Fuliano for me has kind of put herself into a category where my expectation is more that she'll make the games than not make the games at a semifinal right now. Enrico Zanoni, he's still kind of in that mix, of which there's a lot of athletes in this category in Europe. I think that after maybe 4 or 5 names, there's like 20 to 25 names of guys that I would not be surprised if they qualified for the CrossFit Games in any given year, and he's certainly in that list. There are other good CrossFitters, talented CrossFitters in Italy. On the women's side, usually two names that come to mind for me are Jasmine Giraldi, and I don't think she's competing here this weekend, and Valentina Magalati, and Valentina is competing here.
Yes.
We've seen We saw her in Dubai last year, 2022. She was at the European semifinals this past year, where she took 53rd, and she competed at the French Throwdown. She got a top 10 finish there with ninth, and she was at Madrid, and she took 22nd. So she's um, she's a little bit older actually, but in her 30s, but she's been hitting the competition circuit more regularly the past 2 seasons, and I would say she's one of the favorites here on the women's side. And in terms of the male Italian athletes, Tommaso Pieri is a name that I've been kind of curious about. I think he had a decent semifinal a couple of years ago, and he's been kind of lurking just maybe outside that group that I was referencing that I feel like could make the games any given year. So he was 34th last year at semifinals. He actually was the fittest in Italy this year, and he's coached by Andre Houdet, who's actually in
Mhm.
Milan. I'm hoping to catch up with Andre this weekend a little bit. And, Andre's had a lot of success with athletes he's been coaching. Um, and also, Tommaso was their alternate on No Shortcuts. They didn't need him, but he was listed as their alternate this season.
Um, Knowing those names and only that there's only a few of those attending, I mean, how would you say the state of, I mean, kind of like bringing it full circle, the state of Italian CrossFit? Is it something growing? Is it kind of stagnant? I mean, is it behind other countries in Europe? I mean, what have you? I mean, obviously you've been there. You talked to some of the organizers, but on the other hand, you said this event's been around for, you know, I mean, 10 plus years. Going through an Instagram page, they have over 18,000 followers for an event, which is a lot actually. What would you say the state of CrossFit as a sport in Italy is right now?
That's a good question, but I think that CrossFit in Italy is doing quite well, as CrossFit in most European or at least Western European countries are. I'm starting to learn more about kind of Eastern European and branching into Asia a little bit, CrossFit. But I believe that there are some really, really strong uh, CrossFitting countries from the community and competition level in Europe, and we get some, like exposure at a variety of different levels to them. So Spain seems to be getting more exposure. France is like extremely well known. The French Throwdown, for example, is extremely well known competition, and their community is doing great. And the UK. So these three are maybe a little bit more obvious, but if you've been following us this season, you'll know that Norway and Sweden are thriving in this regard. Um, and Italy does have 2 or 3 big events. And by big events, I mean 500 to 1,000 athletes are competing in live competitions here a couple times a year. Uh, I've met the country director from Italy before a few times and spoken with him. So I think for the most part, it's positive. I don't know if it's growing necessarily on the competition side, and I don't have access really to affiliate numbers to know if that's growing or not. But the general sentiment is good, and I think that because the registration started tonight, but it also is in the morning. A lot of competitions do that. Have a
Mhm.
split registration, one evening and one morning. They have their latest start time tomorrow at 10 a.m. But I feel like probably over the next 2 or 3 days, I'll have a better answer for that than I do now.
Um, what's your role going to be there this weekend?
So we will do a variety of different things from the media side. I may not be the only person that you guys know who's here. Chris Hinshaw's here. Chris came
Oh,
to Fall Series Throwdown 2 years ago in 2021, I believe. He will be doing something for the opening event tomorrow, which is a endurance event that's the second venue. So tomorrow they'll have two competition venues running. There's like a basketball, I guess it's primarily a basketball court. They also use it for gymnastics, and it's in like a circular stadium. It's pretty cool. You may have seen a picture I took from up high on it on my Instagram earlier today. And then nearby, there's a big soccer pitch with a full track around it. So they have a 2,400-meter run. The first half of it is without weight. The second half is with a backpack that's loaded. So it's called Back to School. And he's going to be doing some form of coverage of that. And then there's a weightlifter, Trotsky. Do you know this guy, Trotsky?
I don't.
We should know him. We know who he. You know him if you see him. But he's coming on Saturday. I think that his company might be sponsoring that event to some extent, and he's going to be doing some coverage of that. So those are kind of like specialists that are on site here to speak about and maybe evaluate or whatever those particular events, and I'll probably do that for the majority of the other events. I might do some live streaming on my personal Instagram, and we'll definitely do some post-production stuff with like voiceovers over B-roll of athletes competing in the different events. I haven't met the totality of the media team. Some of them were very busy this afternoon, taking headshots and doing whatever with the athletes that were checking in, and others are a little bit more local and will not be here until tomorrow. So kind of probably, especially with an offsite event in the morning, integrate with the team a little bit and probably get into the flow tomorrow evening and into Saturday.
No. If anybody knows anything about Brian's live stream, you're going to get a lot of information, and especially about athletes you're not familiar with. He'll give you the background on a lot of them as he gets to know them and talk to them. That's kind of how Brian's been working when he goes to some of these events. It's like he'll sit there and actually talk to these people or these athletes, get to know them, get to know what they're about. So yeah, cool. Anything else
It'll
you
be
want to talk about? Oh, go ahead, Brian.
it'll be an interesting. I was the guy who picked me up from the airport today is one of the integral members of their team, and he's in technology media guy in his personal life, and then also for this competition. And he said, in Italy, not all everyone speaks English great, but as I've been going around throughout the day, I've been surprised. So and when it comes to the athletes, you can get a little bit of everything. So I'm confident that there will be athletes here who I know very little to nothing about that will do well this weekend. And then it'll be just a matter of how much information I'm able to get from them based on how easily we're able to communicate. Um, but there are some other athletes here that can certainly compete for the top spot. I was speaking actually with Lazar and Luca in Dubai about George Juric. That's not how it's not how you spell it, but it's how you say it. Um, he's one of the two fittest guys in Bosnia Herzegovina, and he does a ton of local competitions in the Baltic region, and often wins them there. Actually, the the Jukic brothers are kind of joking that because they rarely compete in Serbia or any of those countries that are adjacent to it, many of the people there think that he's the fittest guy around because they're not so plugged
Because they're not.
into the yeah. So this guy will be decent. And then Sven Jeans, who is towards the back end of our top 200 list, 26th at semis this past season, 11th at the French Throwdown. He'll be here. And Artemis Anastis, who's probably the third fittest guy in Greece after the guys we saw last week, Alex Katoulis and Yorgos Karavis, but he's young. He's only 23. He's been at the French Throwdown the last 2 years. He was 52nd at semis last year. So pretty excited to actually get to see him in a competition where he'll probably be in the top heat middle lanes once they sort the heats that way. So those are some of the men I'm looking at. And then on the women's side, alongside Magaladi, there's a woman from Finland, Lisa, it's two I's, Leikko. She was an alternate on CrossFit Porti's team. She competed at the Tour in Tuomiopäivä in Finland in August. I think she was fifth there, so watch her. And then Amiko Nates, she's been the fittest in Switzerland, I think 3 of the last 4 or 5 years. She's made it to the two consecutive semifinals, maybe 3, and she was 40th place last season. So those are some of the names I'm kind of looking at. You see Adrian Munweiler there. He's not going to be here this weekend. But most of the other ones that I highlight, I think, are on this poster.
Yeah, like I believe it's Maya Lan. She's someone I'm pretty familiar with. Yeah, I don't know if she's actually competing there, but
I'm not going to touch anything here to look anything up because I don't want to mess up the internet situation.
Sure. I mean, I guess I can look it up real quick.
Well,
but she's competing.
Scroll up. I think I know who this is, but I'm not sure if she's coming either.
Yeah, she was in.
Yeah, I think this is Adrian's girlfriend.
Okay.
And I don't know if they're here or not.
Okay, I believe she is. Actually, she is. Yeah. So if he's not there, more likely she is. She's actually I don't know if she's with with John Singleton anymore in terms of training camp, but yeah, I met her at Lowlands, hustle made athlete, but pretty popular in Europe. I mean, as you see, 105,000 followers. So,
yep.
But I don't see her. I don't think I see her.
Yeah, neither her or Adrian were on the list that we had there.
Yeah. Have you had a chance to look at the programming yet?
Yeah, I actually just put a post up on my Instagram that I just took they had actually the graphics that they were announcing the post were very cool, but they were mostly announcing them last weekend during Dubai. And I kind of wanted to keep the focus on Dubai while we were there. So I didn't repost any of them, but I watched the videos today, took a screenshot, clipped them down, and then put them in one place there. The first picture is me in the elevator with a little bit of a mistyping there, but kind of a fun one. So there's the Elite One Indy, well, whatever. Yes, they got an aerobic workout to kick off the day, and many other workouts. Actually, they give me a little bit of nostalgia to some of J.R. Howell's programming in the sense that there seems to be targeting something very specific. So this is obviously an endurance workout running 18-minute time cap. The second one is literally called Grippy. It's a grip intensive workout, and JR loves to put in one workout that tests the grip very specifically in his competitions. Fat Grips is sponsoring it, so I'm guessing that they're literally going to have those on the dumbbells for the thrusters and the carry, and then you have chest bar pull-ups. So this is a nasty workout, I think, 11-minute time cap, and yeah, you definitely have to have some gnarly upper body capacity for holding on to things. And that should be day 1. We'll have those 2 events on day 1. On day 2, they'll start with the third workout, which is called the jumper. Again, it's like going to be somewhat specific here. It looks like a work to rest workout. Again, they have the backpack, shuttle run, sandbag carry, and max burpee box jumps. So you're going to have to push the pace. And it's 2-to-1 work to rest. So this is like a very common training domain for a lot of the athletes. And when we saw a work to rest style workout last week in Dubai, that was quite fun. So I don't think there's any target number to get to for this one, but if they're going to be, hopefully they have a good way. When you see a workout like this, what you really hope is that they have a good way to keep track of the reps, so that in between, at the very least, what Omar did last week was go down the line and read off the numbers. A minute 30 is plenty of time to do that within the stage there. Otherwise, maybe they can, or in addition to, they could potentially have the flip cards where you could see the number. The judge could go and just flip it every round or something like that. Obviously not expecting to have a ticker count or anything like that. They don't have a broadcast specifically. So, but that's something that, if you're going to do workouts like this, keeping track of the reps round to round as a point of reference for the audience is important. You guys should pay attention to Astrid Lind from Denmark, as long as you're doing the prospects part of Team Flake, by going individual soon. Excellent. Going to Lollapalooza in Chicago, the music festival in 2024, I guess. Okay.
I think that's that's a misspelling. If she is going to Lollapalooza, that's awesome. Good for her. Dress accordingly. But no, we appreciate that. I mean, obviously, if there's people that listen to us, if there's prospects out there, we should keep an eye on. Please let us know. Drop something in there so that way we can, at least, touch point with them and keep an eye on them. But I think I have heard of Ashley Lindo. Trying to remember where. I think she's done like been part of the functional fitness circuit. So I think that's where I know that name from. So it's all right, Ivan. I actually thought it would be cool if it was Lollapalooza. So
I was just trying to see. I don't see her on the. Oh no, Anais Lankry actually is listed on here.
yeah.
And if she's competing, then yes, she certainly should be in the mix. I don't see Astrid's name on here, but we'll look for her and see if she's here for sure. And we do definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely.
So that's Saturday morning workout. Yes. I think the evening one is a two-parter. Yep, 1 rep max hang, squat, clean. We have that Olympic weightlifter coming. And then a 1 minute transition, 8-minute time cap of it's kind of a sprinty style workout, row and snatch, barbell snatch. It's like basically a 135-95. 30-20, 30-20, 24 counts for the women. Damper on 10 and 8. Make a little bit, forced resistance there. So that should be a fun conclusion to Saturday night. And then they did announce Sunday morning's workout, but they have not announced the final. This one's it's called Unbroken or Die. They also bill it as the semifinal, second to last event. 5 rounds, double unders, a ring complex, and some unbroken pistol squats. So definitely some influence from the semifinal workout number 2 last year, and the penalty if you come off the rings.
Is that 10 right, 10 consecutive right, and then switch to 10 left, or is it alternating on the pistols?
I think it's all 10 on the right and then all 10 on the left, which is definitely different.
Yeah.
A different feeling if you haven't tried that out.
I can't imagine doing that and then doing double unders immediately after that.
Wow. Yeah, it's gonna be nasty, and they have the jumper workout the day before, so definitely a big demand on the lower body plyometrics and athleticism.
Yeah, I'll be interested. Remind me to check in with you on this workout. I wonder how many people fail on their first couple double unders because of dead leg, essentially, not being able to jump off both feet.
Yeah, and if you come down off the rings in that complex, it looks like there's additional double unders. So
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hopefully you're good on the rings, because it seems like there's already enough demand on the legs. And then should be one more workout. We have 700 athletes going through 3 days of competition. If everyone's able to take the floor 2 times, you get a double scored event on Saturday night. Makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. So that is basically a quick a quick preview of what we know. Brian being boots on ground there in Milan regarding the Fall Series Throwdown. Anything else you want to add on the Fall Series Throwdown before we move on?
I just got here this afternoon, and I'm just hoping to learn a lot. Part of the reason that I wanted to come to this particular competition is because it's been running so long. If I see something that's been going on for 13 seasons, then in my opinion, no, it's not even my opinion. There's a high likelihood they're doing some things right and they're doing some things
Yeah.
well. So I'm looking forward to kind of learning what those things are. Um, and those are some of the things that I often write about or kind of allude to or include in the memoirs along the stops of the tour. Put out the wheel wad one today. I'm writing the Dubai one right now. Sometimes they're really quick, sometimes they're about a week delayed, but I think I've gotten one out for every place I've been and certainly will do for this one as well.
Well, let's talk about the stop where I'm at currently right now. As I chase you, I'm not going to Italy, by the way. For those, I'm actually, I'm leaving here tomorrow morning, taking a flight from
I think I lost you for a
Izmir.
second there. Yeah,
Sorry. Um, yeah,
see if
I
he
am
comes
not.
back.
I'm heading back to the States, the United States of America, tomorrow as well. Um, Flying out of Istanbul into Chicago. I don't think I'm going to be making my train back to St. Louis, so it looks like I'm staying the night in Chicago. But yeah. But
You
Ryan,
already know that?
well, my flight gets in at 6:10, and the train leaves at like 7 o'clock. So there's no way my baggage is going to come out in 30 minutes, and then take that 30-minute drive from O'Hare um, to Union Station and catch my train. If it happens, it'd be great. But I doubt it. I'm already planning on staying in Chicago on Friday night. So here, this is a good question here.
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, obviously we had a long travel day to Dubai. We're there for 5 or 6 days. And then it was a full travel day to get to Izmir for me. Patrick had traveled overnight basically to get there. But I was there for, I don't know, 60 hours or something like that. Direct flight from Izmir to Milan today, so pretty easy one. And I'll be here for 4 nights. So yeah, they're kind of short stops, but uh, then there's a lot that happens in those amount of time. I think it doesn't matter how long I'm on the road or how many stops there are, whatever. Um, I kind of just always find a way to like push through, and then when I get home, I'll just hit the wall for like a day or two.
Well, don't hit the wall too much. We got a busy week next week when it comes to the podcast. But let's talk about the reason
I'll just
why
wake up. I'll just wake up for the podcast, do them, and then back to
you go
sleep.
back to bed. Uh, a charm life you live. Yeah, so let's talk about what we're doing in Turkey. Obviously, we had a little stop in Turkey. Like I said, I'm still here. You left this morning. What brought us to Turkey? You kind of alluded to it earlier, but let's go in a little bit more detail about it.
Yeah, a woman there named Denise. She's been running a gym in Izmir, Turkey for a long time. CrossFit Al Sanjak. It was, I think they affiliated back in 2013 or 14, something like that. They did de-affiliate. They're in the process of re-affiliating, but anyway, they run a competition in on the west coast of Turkey, there on the Aegean Sea, excuse me. And she had kind of asked me about it a few months ago, and that's in March, end of March. So I'm still thinking about potentially going to it, but I just in talking to her a little bit, and then she introduced me to Armin, who is in the bottom on the red shirt there, one of their coaches there. I've been speaking with them, and I was like, hey, I have a few days in between Dubai and Italy. Turkey's directly in line with that. What do you think about if I came out there, saw your community, got to know you guys a little bit, and maybe we could even do an event at the gym or somewhere nearby or whatever you guys advise. I did something like that in Norway. I really enjoyed it, and I was hopeful to be able to do it again, and I'm hopeful to be able to do it more often in more places. Patrick had the idea of maybe bringing Seher as well from Dubai. She'd be competing there. She's Turkish, of course, and she was in Turkey a couple months ago. Turns out she'd actually met Denise. They know each other, and so we were able to coordinate these events pretty well. Uh, Seher and Patrick stayed in Dubai for a little bit to just recover from the competition, came over on Wednesday evening. We did a little seminar for their members and anyone from around the community that wanted to come, talking about the value of competing in CrossFit from the community level all the way up to the competitive level. And then did a little Q&A with them and put them through a workout. I wrote the workout and kind of helped guide them through it. So Seher jumped in and worked out with them. And she stayed again today, did a seminar on handstand walking. And it seems like the community was really appreciative and grateful. Obviously had some nice pictures and whatever. So that was more or less what we were doing in Izmir.
Yeah, and it's something like when I got to know Sahar, um, and learn a little bit more about his story. She One thing she wanted to do is, it's kind of spread the gospel of CrossFit in Turkey. Um, she When she did, it was called the Elite. I'm trying to remember the competition she did. I think it was called the Elite Series or something like that. Um, but she easily won that competition. But it wasn't about winning that competition so much as it was just being present. And she said she just met so many people that came up to her. She didn't realize how big of a role model she was to people in Turkey, especially in the CrossFit community. And for her to get the opportunity to come back and see some of the same people she met, and also give a chance to kind of give back, answer questions. She just greatly enjoys it. And she actually said she learned a lot from you, Brian, during during the Q&A, because one, just hearing your perspective on things. And right now, I was able to record most of the Q&A and some of the seminars. So I'm kind of in the middle of working through that, and hopefully making some cuts and edits and throwing something up for our people to watch on our YouTube channel and whatnot. But
You know what?
yeah, it was.
I have this new commitment. Every single show, I'm going to
Yes.
say something just for Peter to clip and make fun of us for. So why don't we put it behind the
Okay.
paywall?
All right. Sure. Let's put it behind the paywall. uh, yeah, might as well. We'll just save it for exclusive. So for our Patreons on our paywall.
No, of
um,
course we want to. No, it is actually cool. The one I did in Norway, I didn't get a chance to film it. Patrick wasn't there, and I didn't really know how that would go. But this one, we did, like Patrick said, record most of it, and I think there was probably some good stuff in there. It's one of those. It's kind of a weird thing where um, I don't really prepare notes for anything like that or have any specific ideas. I just kind of trust that what I've been doing for the past 10, 11 years will facilitate conversation about whatever the topic kind of happens to be. And so I almost kind of black out to the point, like I may not be able to tell you exactly what I spoke about. So it would actually could be fun for me to watch it back a little bit, um, and maybe just do a little self critique, but also maybe maybe surprise myself by what I said. I don't know.
or Peter will be find something from it and clips it, and you know, and find something entertaining out of it. But
Yes,
it was
people are enjoying doing that recently. It's great.
yeah, yeah. It's been. I mean, it is good stuff. Um, in terms of there was like over 30. I counted. I think 35 people that attended the seminar. I think originally Denise said it was open to 30. And I think she just made room for some other people. And um, very astute. The question and answer period was outstanding. You had someone ask you about Dave Castro. I thought that was really cool. Interesting your take on that, and I'm sure they were very interested in that too. But overall, I thought it was.
And it was the first time that I'd done one where everything I said needed to be translated. So I mentioned Arman, who's down there in the red
Yeah.
sweatshirt on the bottom of the picture, and he was doing the translation. And it's, sometimes you get into a rhythm and a flow, and you're like go talking for maybe a minute or two at a time when answering a question. But when someone's translating for you, you can't do that. So I
Break it up.
needed to kind of like plan breaks. I'd say, okay, say that part, but then I really needed to focus. Like I was like intentionally trying to not really look at the audience so that I didn't lose track of what I was about to say next, because I have no idea what he's saying. I'm not really sure how long it's going to take him to translate that. So it was a different, like the mental switch going on and off in that regard was a little bit different.
Yeah, and he did a great job of doing that because I also saw him leaning over and translating for when Sahar was talking because Seher, sorry, Seher speaks actually three languages: Norwegian, English, and Turkish. So she was actually born in Turkey in a town in Middle Turkey called Konya, but and it's funny because talking to her, she's never been to Istanbul, so um, so that's kind of on her bucket list. She spent a lot of time in Izmir and some of the other, and in Konya and some other cities in Turkey. And I just didn't realize how big Turkey was and how many like full populated cities the country has. And it's I must say it's been beautiful. Just what I've witnessed. You had a little bit of different experience when you came in. Got to I think enjoy a little bit more of the coffee light nightlife a little bit. By nightlife I mean not like going out, but um, going out with a group of people. But I want to talk about Denise and her husband and their family, what they've built in terms of a community there, and not only that, but what they've built for themselves. Um, Denise and her husband, their family, they actually lived in this their affiliate for I believe 7 years.
Yeah, like I said, they had affiliated maybe 10 years ago or something like that. Arman was telling me the full kind of history of him getting involved in CrossFit. He started doing CrossFit in like 2009 or 10, and then he found this gym when they started in 2013 or 14. Um, Denise, I don't know if is she in this picture? So yeah, she's in the gray sweatshirt in the middle on the right there, and then Atamer, her husband, is in the front kneeling with the, I don't know what this sign, rock and roll signs or whatever. Um, and they lived in the gym for a long time. Their son is in this picture. He's right in the front with the cut off sleeves. He's a pretty fit dude actually, and he did the workout partner workout with Seher, and she definitely pushed him, but he held his own. And he's man, I'll be interested to see where he goes. He's pretty passionate about it right now, but he grew up in the gym, and you see people like this. We saw some videos of him from when he was 8 and 9 years old, making YouTube videos, doing CrossFit movements, and they kind of led by example in that regard. They have a really intimate group of people that are kind of their core coaches and members at their gym there. A few of them spent the evening with us. Like I said, it was last night. Crazy. We had a barbecue at their place, and eventually they were able to move out of the gym, find a property, and Atamer built a home for their family out of his bare hand with his bare hands.
Amazing.
He built it himself. Very, very impressive, it's feat to take on. He doesn't have a background. He didn't go to school for that kind of thing. He just has an eye for it and a knack for hard work. So um, and then they run a Al Sanjak Team Series competition. That's one that's happening in March. It's been a team competition forever, I think. And this year they're introducing an individual division. So Denise and I were kind of looking through some of the history of the programming there, talking about some ideas for this year. And they partnered up with a gentleman who trains at their gym, Oben, who owns a hotel. I think it's like 45 minutes to an hour south of where they live, and the whole competition takes place there. So if you register for the competition, you also stay on site at the hotel, and meals are included, everything like that. And so it's very easy to come and go from your room after the competitions, get a shower, take a nap, change clothes, whatever. There's food, like I said, there's food there, and so it's a pretty unique environment. If you go to Dubai, it's very much like that when it's at the tennis stadium. In Norwegian Throwdown, or Norwegian, whatever the sanction was, they did that because they were so far out in the mountains, um, and so very unique experience like that. You don't get to see it that often. Um, and this is actually a similarity between their competition and the one here in Italy, is that these competitions they're well known and they do very well in their countries, but they're attempting to attract some international attention. Obviously, getting athletes from the United States, Canada, South America to come would be Australia like a stretch, but start to get more and more from maybe the neighboring countries, and then build out from there. So if you are in this part of the world and thinking about looking for some different competition experiences, it can be quite fun to travel to a new place to compete. You'll meet people from different parts of the world. We spoke about this at the lecture on Wednesday evening. Is that if you go to compete, you don't even have to speak the same language as someone, and you can make a bond with them just by going on the floor and doing the same workout and working hard and sweating together. And I think both. Well, I think that I haven't been to that competition, but it seems like it would be a great opportunity for that, and I think this one probably will be as well.
Yeah, I mean, if this from what they're telling us and what we're hearing, if it's anything like how they hosted us and have been kind to us and just the attention to detail, it's going to be a fun competition. I'm very interested to see how it goes, and definitely want to keep in touch with them. I know that you're looking at the possibility of returning there and attending the competition. So um, yeah, so I'd give it a. I mean, I can't stop talking or thinking about like just how much fun I had last night with this close knit group of people, complete strangers. But by the end of the night, I felt like these are lifelong friends, and yeah, even had some lion's milk.
Oh, Jesus. Well, and I learned, I've been learning things about the political nature of fitness communities and CrossFit specifically in some of these areas as well. And in the case of Turkey, there's a challenge that's happening there that, CrossFit, I believe that have been made aware of it. It's only 8 days old that this has become really a reality, but this is like good insight for, um, just a general understanding of how difficult it can be to manage a global brand. There's a
Hmm.
federation within Turkey that has decided that they can give out CrossFit affiliations for less money without having anything to do with CrossFit HQ, and the government in Turkey ruled that that was okay. But CrossFit globally obviously would say that's not okay. And so there's that's a very strange situation, but things like this exist in many countries around the world. And in conversations with people that we know, we've been made aware of some of them, and now that we're doing some more traveling and actually going to those places, we're seeing the reality of that for people like Denise and Atamer, who are trying to do this the right way, and have others that are maybe not. Um, and it'll be interesting now that I'm aware of it to see how CrossFit handles a situation like that.
Yeah, and I think that's where someone like Seher can help out in that as well. I think she's fully aware of that now as well. Just spending some time here talking to them because she doesn't live here full time. She lives in Norway. She trains in Norway, but she wants to be a big part of the community here, her home country. She wants to see it grow. So she wants to provide any help she can get, and I think that's part of the reason why when I brought up the opportunity of possibly doing this, she jumped at it without hesitation, and she's actually staying until Sunday. She's going to do something at another gym here. Just getting to know people, kind of do a rounds here in Izmir at the CrossFit gym. She's made plenty of friends here, and especially within the CrossFit community here in Turkey, especially Izmir. So um, yeah, it'll be interesting to watch, and you know anything that we could do to be a part of it, whether it be showing up, doing a Q&A with the community, or promoting their event. I think that all at the end of it's helpful, and I think it and they definitely appreciate us being there and taking the time to do this, and obviously we enjoy doing it.
And I don't think she's the only athlete that's starting to get this initiative to maybe give back
Mhm.
to the CrossFit community and their part of the world. Um, I know we've brought them up a few times, but I've become aware of the Belgrade Games in Serbia that had a pretty good opening
Mhm.
season year this year. Not sure exactly when or how it will be happening next year, but I know that Lazar is interested in supporting that competition in some way. And yeah, I mean, if you're have big success in this sport, I think that you do have the opportunity to go back to your community wherever it is around the world and do something special for them. Understanding this was kind of the message of our seminar last night, was that there's an intersection between competition and community, and that competition can certainly be inspiring, but that for people to get involved in the sport, but that people who are doing the community can also potentially challenge themselves, and that way put something on the calendar. They don't have to be pursuing it at the highest level of Seher Kaya, Lazar Jukic, etc. But that just like you would in a job or in your life, you can put something on the calendar, work hard to try to achieve it, um, and then go from there.
Um, so what's next on the stops? You're coming home for a while, correct? At least through the
Yeah,
holidays.
yeah.
So
After
I
this
guess
weekend,
by home,
I
I
will
mean
not
the
do
United
any.
States.
Yeah, yeah, United States. I won't do any more competitions until Wadapalooza. Um, I spoke actually with them today, and kind of putting some things into the works about what that's going to look like. Got another meeting with them next week. So start dialing in for that. Obviously, it's big competition, big names, um, tons of opportunities for storytelling, stats, and that's one of the things that we're trying to do through B.Friendly Stats is to provide context, especially starting with the bigger events and hopefully trickling down from there. That'll that pulls in audience. It's very common in sports that um, there's someone out there that's gathering all this information and that really quickly can communicate or contextualize what's happening on the floor, not just in the moment, but historically. So we're trying to do some of that at Wadapalooza this year.
Yeah, definitely look forward to doing that. Um, Next week, yeah, I mean, obviously because we've been on a road, there's been a lot of stuff been going on. Obviously, people have been tuning in. They've seen what we did at FitFest with Nico. We're actually going to have Nico on Tuesday, um, along with a special guest, someone that competed at the FitFest as well, to kind of give their takes. You know, Nico from a media slash spectator side, and then the athlete we're bringing on from an athlete perspective side, and just have some conversations about that. And then I believe on Wednesday we're going to have Jules and Edward. Edward Branch is the president of the recently formed Association of Fitness Judges. I think that's right, right? AFJ. And Jules
Yes.
is the vice president. I go back. I mean, my judging, me and Jules go way back from when I was a judge. So we'll have them on, kind of talk about what they have planned, what the future looks like, what the kind of the history of that, and then we're hoping to get a couple other athletes and coaches next week that we cross paths with in Dubai, and hopefully get them on. So we got hopefully a long, a busy slate of podcasts and shows next week, and then also watch out. Probably Tuesdays when we'll announce our next giveaway. Um, it's a good one, actually. It's very holiday theme, and yeah, I think it's going to be kind of cool. So tune in for that. I think it's something you don't want to miss. It's definitely an item that if you're a CrossFit um, savant, especially when it comes to the games, you'll definitely want something like this or be a part of it. Um, Shoot, Brian might even try to register for his own for the giveaway as well. But
I'll just use a fake name.
yeah, just use
I
a
don't know.
fake name.
I've heard some people have had success doing that and getting away with it to an extent until they out themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else we could talk about. I mean, anything worth talking, mentioning while um, in terms of newsworthy. There's not really much out in terms of news. Um, Brian, you have anything?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I don't know how many of the people who listen to this necessarily check out our website that often, but um, another woman, Rebecca Birch, who is a volunteer on the event team at FitFest, wrote an article about her experience there. It's kind of just a big picture overview, but she does provide a few insights that I thought were nice to read myself because I wasn't there on site to experience them. And yeah, it's this right in the middle there. Elite athletes have their say. Like I mentioned, the wheel wad recap is up there. It's my first ever all adaptive competition. Uh, I can't remember how much we spoke about it on here or not, but finally got my thoughts down on paper and organized in there. There could be some interesting stuff in there if you have any passion for the adaptive community or learning more about it, and not just on the floor, but some stuff that we learned from speaking to people off the floor. And I've continuing to been putting in my workouts, friendly wads. I've put every workout that I've done since July up there by month. It's been very difficult to follow a consistent program, but I try to work out as often as I can with a variety of different people, and um, usually provide a sentence to maybe a paragraph worth of information. Oh, nice. That can just contextualize as either what I was doing, why I was doing it, what I was thinking about during the workout, or whatever. So I know some people will take a look at those and maybe do one or pick one here or there to do. So just some stuff to check out there if that's not something that you've been doing in the past.
Here we go. Friendly wads, December friendly wads. Um, yeah, did you include the one that you wrote for from yesterday in that?
I wr- I wrote two workouts yesterday. This is the one that I did in the
Oh, okay.
afternoon with a few people
The power
there, and
snatch
then
one.
yeah, and I did not include the one that I put for the seminar last night.
Yeah, it was a nice partner wad. Um, yeah, it was basically an EMOM. I think it was what 32 minutes long, roughly.
Well, yeah, 1 minute work, 20 seconds rest with a partner. Split the work
Yeah,
any way you want during the minute. Work for the entire minute if you can. And when I'm doing writing a workout for a group of 30 plus people that I don't know, it's a different, if you're writing a workout in an affiliate, you probably know your members really well, and you can
yeah,
sculpt things around that fairly easily. So I wanted to make it very approachable, but also leave um, some options for people who are maybe a higher level or wanted to challenge themselves in a different way. So one of the stations was pull up of some kind. So you could do anything from a jumping pull up to a bar muscle up and anything in between. There was a rowing station, there was a V up or tuck up or sit up station, and even for the best people there, that I think that ended up being the hardest station. We were talking with Arson, Denise and Atamer's son, and he's like, the V-ups were my worst thing, and it's so easy to practice. And I'm like, yep, but it's so easy not to practice.
yeah,
um,
absolutely.
and they had another station where we had some ski ergs and some bike ergs, so you could choose which one of those you wanted to do, and then ground to overhead. So you could do a clean and jerk or a snatch with one dumbbell or two dumbbells, as heavy or as light as you wanted to go. So really on the gymnastics and the weightlifting there, it was pick your poison in terms of weight and complexity of gymnastics movement. On the machines, you pick your intensity based on what you're looking for, and then a little bit of core work in the middle.
And that's what those friendly wads are about. So if you get an opportunity, go ahead and check those out if you're looking for something. Obviously, let us know how you did. Tag us, and we'll make sure we repost and reach out. Uh, Anything else you have, Brian? I can't think of anything that we're missing right now.
I think that's pretty good. About an hour was what we were hoping for today. I'm gonna try to get some sleep tonight. I think it's gonna be long days the next 3 days, and I think that dinners usually start around this time in Italy. So
It does. Yeah.
I had dinner
Uh,
before this, so I can go to sleep.
yeah. So kind of recap, summarize. Brian will be at the Fall Series Throwdown in Milan, Italy. So yeah, click on the link tree. Look, we'll be reposting some stuff on the Be Friendly Instagram, but also check on Brian's personal Instagram where he'll probably be doing some live streaming. And also, if you get a chance, go ahead and check out the. Oh, sorry, let me switch over to this. The team series. Um, sorry.
Al Sanjak. I'll pronounce it for you.
Yeah, the team series. That's one of the reasons why we came here. If you're looking for the competition, you happen to be in Turkey, yeah, this I would highly recommend this. Kind of like Brian said, it's very be at a resort on the Aegean Sea. Is it the sea or ocean, Brian?
It's the C, and the registration's open now. Actually, I think it
It
stays
is.
open until middle of January. They
Mhm.
said that most people usually sign up in the last couple of weeks, which I think happens a lot of places. But um, I don't know if it's something you're thinking about. Why not sign up for it? Put it on the calendar and give yourself a little. I ca- If you happen to be in Turkey, says Audrey. Yeah, well, people do live over there and around there, and it's one of the things that I often forget when I don't come to Europe and Asia that frequently is that in this part of the world you can travel pretty easily and pretty
Mhm.
cheaply between countries if you have flexibility especially in terms of the days that you can travel. Um, so it is not necessarily that difficult to get through there from a variety of different places. I think they will have a few people that come from Africa. They said they have a bunch of people that, often do their competitions from Iran, and there's really no reason that people from Italy, Greece, and all the Baltic states couldn't quite easily get over there.
I mean, there is a prize purse for a team and individual. Um, yeah, I mean, like you said, traveling is pretty simple once you get over here. I mean, I would like to send a shout out to the unofficial sponsor of our Turkish trip. Um, that'd be what is it, Sun Express? Sun
I
Express.
flew them. I've flown three airlines for the first time on this trip: Airline or Airways, Turkish Airline, and or Airways and Sun Express. So
Yes.
racking up the
Yeah.
new airline experiences.
Yeah. Sun Express, for those who don't know, I think, I mean, it seems to be kind of like a frontier, like, just a kind of value jet type thing. But if you're only going an hour away, like I was doing when we flew over, it's not bad at all, especially for the price. So tomorrow I actually have two Turkish airlines. So my flight from Izmir to Istanbul is on Turkish Airlines, and then I will have to since it's the domestic flight, I have to get all my luggage and then check in at the gate for
Oh,
my international flight on Turkish Airlines. So um, luckily, hopefully I have 3 hours to do that before my flight leaves from Turkey to Chicago. So it'll be a pain in the
knowing
ass,
you,
but
knowing you, it'll take 2 hours 55 minutes, and you'll make the plane.
I probably will. And if I don't, I guess I'll look up Annual and maybe see what he's doing in Istanbul for the evening. I'll crash on his couch or something. But yeah, that's about it. Like Brian said, an hour long. Bella couldn't make it. She had some stuff going on, but she has some exciting stuff, news that she wants to share with us as well. And Jeffrey and Brian, Jeffrey Birchfield, sorry. Jeff, thank you. You have a good day as well. Melanie, thank you. I will try. I don't think if they ask me to fly the plane at any point, then we would have some issues. Um, but no, we definitely appreciate you guys coming in. Sorry if there's a little bit of low energy coming from myself or Brian. It might be just the travel catching up on us, and I think a little of us. Well, I'm just trying to get over a cold as well, and I think same with Brian here as well. So um, yeah. So yeah, again, tune in next week. We have a full starting Tuesday. I think we might be doing a show every week, every day that week, starting Tuesday. So uh, there'll be more news coming out on that. If you're subscribed to our newsletter, you'll see a lot of that information on tomorrow's newsletter when you get it in your mailbox. If you're not subscribed to the newsletter, please go to our website and subscribe. All it takes is your email address. It's no big deal, but we definitely appreciate it. So with that being said, Brian, you got anything else you want to say before I sign us off?
No, just be on the lookout over the weekend. Not entirely sure what I'll be doing, but some live streaming, some post-production content with the team here, and trying to learn as much as I can about the Italian CrossFit community.
Can't wait to hear all about it. Until then, be friendly, our friends.